But here's another sense of where some of the left is too. Tulsi Gabbard announced that she is running, and we've mentioned on this program, like, I think the threshold from when I think someone's stuff in someone's background is problematic changes based upon what position they're going for.
You fucking smeared her.
Right. You run for Congress. There's 435 of them. Is that what it is?
You would know that.
And 452, whatever, somewhere around there. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's so many, I can barely remember the specific number. So if you run for Congress, the threshold, but if you're running for president and you belong to a hate group, or you speak in front of a hate group, and there's a little bit of cult in your background, and maybe your foreground, I start to get a little nervous. Like, I don't want anybody from the fellowship to be in the presidency either, right? And so, but there's other people who have different opinions, and because
some people who oppose fucking war.
Right. I have some issues with her.
This clip is rich.
All right, well, let's just play this, because this is really part of our core brand proposition, too. I give you Jimmy Dore upon the announcement of Tulsi Gabbard.
Have you seen The Intercept and the Humanist Report coverage of Tulsi? I love Tulsi, but if you read these pieces, you will learn some uncomfortable truth that true lefty indie and journalists have pointed out. Looking forward to it, Lorraine. We're all about reading about Tulsi and learning more about her. Because Tulsi identifies Hindu, I need to hear from her about her stance on Modi fascism, Islamophobia, imperialism in Kashmir, and whether she agrees morally with the caste system that is incredibly sexist against women. Thanks for the donation. I don't have any answers.
I can tell you one thing. If there's one thing I couldn't care less about, it's what's happening in India. Is that wrong of me to not care? How does that affect me? There's lots of bad governments all around the world. Why should I give a shit about another one? I don't understand. Right? Isn't that like saying, hey, Assad's not a good guy, and so we should have troops there? I don't understand. None of them are good guys. Look what fucking Israel's doing to medics on their border. That's our ally. Turkey's our ally. Look what we're doing in Yemen with our ally Saudi Arabia. So this idea of somehow the people they got her because she likes a guy, and we're in fucking bed with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, no.
That's just ridiculous. So you're going to have a different litmus test now for her than you have for every other fucking president, including Barack Obama?
So why do you oppose all those other governments, fucking moron?
Why do you care what happens in Yemen?
Hold on one second.
Immoral.
I just want to make sure
stupid.
That's not their version of their parody show, right?
I would never say anything that fucking stupid.
We just couldn't change the logo. The issue's not that she's Hindu. I don't think she deserves any specific extra scrutiny but it's what she has done and her affiliation.
You cannot trust the Hare Krishnas. They're at the airport. They'll try to kidnap you. There was a nice boy in my neighborhood in Worcester, and he became a Hare Krishna. And he just ate vegetables and never called his mom. Do you see?
It was very, very, that stuck in my mom's craw for a long time with that kid. Literally 30 years later, be careful at the airport. But aside from that, I don't know really how to respond to something like that, where you the desire for Tulsi Gabbard to be somebody that she's not is extremely intense. Well,
she does go surfing. That makes you a progressive.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's 3 o'clock.
Can we get that in the studio? Could you imagine if somebody's like, hi, I wanted to talk about your view of a first principle. It's like, it's 2:45. Put down the phone, Sam. Let your people leave. Stop torturing them.
Matt with the drop.
I just, to actually articulate those words, like, I'm surprised he didn't say, I don't give a fuck about what's going on in India, and I don't wake up in the morning and turn to the India section of the paper.
I do.
But I know you do. But this is pretty stunning stuff. And I think, like, this is, I think an example of what concern that we've had for a long time at our show and why we spend so much time sort of policing, frankly, Jimmy's show. I don't think it's terribly effective. That video will get 150,000 views, and there'll be a lot of people out there who, Jimmy Reefer Cake will send in a song next week that will sing about.
How many people think we should ban Jimmy Reefer Cake?
It's not that many.
Wow, that's not as overwhelming as you. How many people don't think we should ban him? Wow.
Again, there's the 90% in the middle of everything.
Yes.
That just are like, whatever, just go on with the show.
Just fucking clap.
Exactly.
He's also a guy who's done a million videos on Syria, and a couple weeks ago it was just like Rojava with the Kurds. I didn't fucking know that. He literally didn't know about the Kurdish areas. Anyways,
He's not a leftist.
he's not a leftist.
Like, seriously.
I think he is ideologically left. I think he's just not somebody who likes to read.
I think he. Are you saying he's a dum-dum?
I think he can read, but I'm not sure.
No, like, people complain about leftist on leftist violence when we make fun of Jimmy Dore. If you don't care about people all over the world, including on the other side of this bullshit thing we call borders, you're not a leftist. Sorry.